All right, generalizing. So generalizing is, we did review some of them. Right now, generalizing and so when we generalize, we have the words, right? Generally. Yeah. So Saki, I know it's early in the morning, starts early in the morning. Generally what? Generally? Yeah, we have generally speaking, but generally speaking is a different one. Generally speaking. Generally speaking. So generally is one thing. Generally speaking, say something. Somebody. Generally speaking. Yeah, but no, a sentence, an example. I know it's early, it's still early in the morning. People are defrosting. Generally, women live longer than men. Is that correct? Is that a correct assumption? Based on statistics that we have? Generally, yeah, life expectancy, if you look at life expectancy of men and women in the world, generally women live longer than men. So it's generally yeah. So generally women live longer than men. Generally speaking, the same. It's just that when you write, can you write generally speaking?
No.
No. Now, this thing, generally women speak longer than men, this is called generalization. Generalization. Or to generalize, right? To generalize. You're generalizing. You're generalizing. Stop generalizing. People usually do not like generalizing. Especially here in Canada, once you start generalizing, people don't like it. So, when you generalize, people actually don't like it. This is called generalization. And yeah. So when you generalize, now can you generalize? And as you guys are thinking, I put some other words here, like overall, in general. And you can help. You can always help. It seems to me that.
All in all.
No, like with generally.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Why not? It's hard to come up with a sentence.
No, because my brain is stupid today.
Essentially.
Generally, Japanese people is polite.
Generally, Japanese people are
Polite.
proud.
Polite.
Bright.
Polite.
Polite.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, generally, Japanese people are polite. Very good. Very good. All things considered. Generally speaking, then all in all, we had where's all in all. So on the whole, Yes, on the whole, by and large, these are really good phrases, by and large. Basically is used a lot as a rule for the most part. So we have generally speaking, to generalize, generalizing, generalization, overall, in general. It seems to me that all in all, essentially all things considered, by and large, basically as a rule, so on and so forth. So basically when we want to say something general, so generally, now, in IELTS class, speaking is like this. I give you words, you give me good sentences that are correct, right? That's part of speaking. Saki, you like to speak. This is part of the speaking. Speaking to the point, right, properly. This is it. So, avoid, people in here, they say avoid generalizing. Do not generalize. Avoid generalization. Stop generalizing. So when you generalize, it basically means to talk about everyone like the same way, including everyone. So if you say generally guys are like this, generally girls are like that, generally whether based on gender, sex, religion, or anything, people don't like it here, especially here in Canada. People don't like it. They say, hey, don't generalize. Don't say like women, men, children, adults. What? They would say you are, if you generalize, and we have overgeneralization, and sometimes you overgeneralize to overgeneralize, right? They would say you're either, that's biased. Now biased could be gender, biased, could be sexist, could be racist, could be sexist, could be, yeah, if it's racist, it's based on race. If it's sexist, it's based on sex and gender. It could be gender-based. Now, speaking of generalization, we have one word that we would say, for example, if you say Japanese people are shy or polite, you're generalizing. You're using what? There's a word for it. We would say these are character whats. There's a good word for this. When you generalize, and especially here in Canada, they don't like it. It's pretty much like racial profiling. It's called
Stereotypes.
Stereotypes. We have stereotypes, stereotyping as a verb. Stereotyping. So stereotyping, yeah. When we got stereotypes, we got stereotyping. So we have stereotypes. If you, now these are some good phrases for stereotyping. For example, if you want to give us some stereotypes about people in the Dominican Republic, what are the stereotypes? It's good to look for stereotypes. There are stereotypes. Look, jokes are based on stereotypes. When we joke around, jokes are based on stereotypes. Now we have ethnic jokes, racial jokes, religious jokes, all kinds of jokes. For example, we would say that this kind of people are like this, that kind of people are like that. Now, it doesn't mean the stereotypes are always right at all. It's just that people have stereotypes in mind. They would think that, for example, if I tell you Saudi people, what comes to your mind? Those things that come to your mind generally about the Saudi people would be the stereotypes. Like if you say the Saudi people are generally rich, that's a stereotype that comes to mind. Because we think of oil and we would say that, alright, the Saudis are generally rich. That's stereotypes. What else do we have for stereotypes? If it's a French people, what stereotypes come to your mind? Go ahead. Saki. When you say French. Okay, thank you. It's not a class. It's me alone here. Don't worry. When you say I want to speak, this is speaking in IELTS class, right? Speaking in IELTS class is not saying sitting down and spending hours. This is speaking. Because here, you must be able to think and speak. This is called critical thinking. And it's 9 a.m., wake up at 6. So, that's generally. So I would say generally speaking, men are physically stronger than women. When you talk about general rules, there are always what? Exceptions. There's an exception to every rule. You see? We say there's an exception to every rule. There's an exception to every rule. What does that mean? There's an exception to every rule. Every rule has exceptions. The rule is, for example, that in physics, this happens. Ouch! In grammar, we have rules. For verbs, if you want to make up the past, you should add ed to the present, to the root. So, play, played. But then, d or ed. But then, go, went. Is that part of the rule? No. That's the exception to the rule. So, and remember, if you work on sentences, memorize the whole sentence. There is an exception to every rule. And you know, like when you later want to remember something, you would go like, oh, exception, in, on, by. So there's an exception to every rule. There's an exception to a rule. There is an exception to every rule. And except, everyone left except something. Except me. Except John. Except Jim. Everyone spoke except the teacher. Yeah?
No.
No. Quite the opposite, right?
Yes.
Quite the opposite. Except. So except, exception. What is the adjective coming from except? You know, this student is exceptional as adjective. Adjective. Exceptional. This student is exceptional. So we have except, exceptional, and exception to every rule. So, very fast. Can you come up with a sentence with generally?
Generally.
You said it. Japanese people are polite people. So, can you make one with except?
Except.
Thank you. That was fast enough. I cannot repeat anymore. So, I'll be asking you later. In general, it seems to me that, and let's move on here. So, you're generalizing. Is it a good thing to generalize? Stop generalizing. But on the other hand, there are stereotypes in the world, right? There are stereotypes. It's a world of stereotypes. When I teach, for example, people from Japan and I teach people from, for example, Germany, there are differences. I do see that generally speaking, Japanese people are more shy, and they say it themselves, and they have reasons for it. Japanese men, they say we're shy, and women say Japanese men are shy, generally speaking. Generally speaking, remember. Now, sometimes there are exceptions. These generalizations are wrong. And here in the West, and especially in Canada, because people see a lot of people, they usually say, don't generalize, don't use stereotypes. They're not good. But outside of Canada, outside the US, when you go to countries where people are like, everybody is like either Japanese or Chinese or Iranian or whatever, there are stereotypes in that society because people of that society believe in certain things. They share certain common points. And these common points that they share make up a general thing. As human beings, we share some things. We like beauty. That's why beautiful actors and actresses are so famous all over the world. There are some standards of beauty also. So there are some general things in the world. It's not like there's nothing general, everything is exceptional, everybody's unique. You know unique? Yes?
Yes.
How do I write it? Yes. Unique would be
Someone that is different from the others, like.
It's unique.
if you're unique, exactly. If you're unique, that basically means you're different. But remember, there's another word that's unique. So remember how you pronounce it. Be careful. Because this one is unique. I think we talked about it in this class. So if somebody's a unique, now we have unique, that is one. So in the world, if you're unique, that means you're matchless. Nobody matches you. Matchless. You don't have a match in the world. No one else is like you. You're unique. You know, this person is exceptional, has exceptional talents. This person is exceptionally talented. If you use these words in your writings, and if you use these words in your speaking, in your writing, you up the level of your speaking, you raise the level of your writing and speaking. And it's important. Because to someone like you, you speak fluently, from now on what I expect from you is to see a higher speech level. And a higher speech level means, look, when you speak, say, oh, she's pretty good, and then go on and then. Instead of these words, using a higher end words. Like using, she is exceptionally talented. He's exceptionally talented. Because we use adverbs to modify adjectives. I would say he's very talented. Now, instead of saying he's very talented, if I'm speaking a better English and writing a better English, I would use more refined adverbs to modify adjectives. And I always tell you, using adverbs to modify adjectives is a sign of a good command of language. So she's exceptionally talented. She's exceptional. An exceptional student, an exceptional runner. Maki is an exceptional runner. She has exceptional sports, I don't know, call it talent? Call it what? She's an exceptional athlete. She's exceptionally athlete? No. She's an exceptional athlete. She's exceptionally athletic. So I would say, and I would write her name, because she won the championship. Well, she's limping now though. Maki is an exceptional athlete, right? Now, she is exceptionally athletic. Correct? She's exceptionally athletic. He is exceptionally bright. He is exceptionally bright. So learn it in the sentence. She is exceptionally something. He is exceptionally something. Saki, can you give me an example, a real example of someone you know? who is either exceptionally talented, exceptionally athletic, exceptionally strong, exceptionally kind,
Yeah.
exceptionally forgiving, exceptionally nice. So we have people who are exceptional. Who came to your mind?
My friend
What's her name or his name?
at school
At school?
is exceptionally kind.
He's exceptionally kind. Okay. So she has a friend at school who's exceptionally kind. That's exceptional, not like everyone else. We would say unlike everyone else. Not like everyone else is unlike someone else. So that's what I'm trying to say. If you want to raise the level of vocabulary, that basically means I would say, oh, she is not like you. She's not like me. She studies hard. Listen to me carefully. She is not like me. She studies hard. Now, I want to raise the level of my speech for speaking and writing. Unlike me, she studies hard. So if you say, unlike me, she studies very hard, you don't even need to say, I don't study very hard, but she's not like me. She studies very hard. You make it shorter, but higher. So unlike me, she studies very hard. Okay. Then we go overall. Remember, for IELTS we have overall. Like we have overall, what happens? Overall, the prices rose from August to September of 2014. Overall, that was an IELTS writing, right? Overall, the overview. Remember, you wanted to write an overview. Now, I don't want to write an overview. Overall, Tamwood is a good institute. Overall, well, it has advantages and disadvantages, cons and pros, good points and bad points, merits and demerits. Yes? But overall, remember, we talked about it. There are advantages and disadvantages, but overall, all in all, generally speaking, all in all, on the whole,
On the whole?
yeah, like it means like all in all,
Okay.
on the whole. Like all in all, it's a good place. But essentially and basically, I wrote basically some word I want to write it right here.
Right up.
Up,
Right.
here. Oh, here, like as a rule. So essentially and basically are used very closely. So essentially, basically, these are good fillers also. You can use them all the time. And some people use this, like overuse them. Like basically.
Yeah.
So basically, essentially, essentially colleges are more practical and hands-on than universities. Essentially. Basically, colleges are made to prepare you for your career. Basically. So basically Toronto is more, and when we say basically, we don't want to say something exact. We don't want to say exactly or precisely, right? So when we say these things, nothing is accurate or precise or exact. It's not like exactly, precisely, or accurately. Or literally. So it's nothing is exact. You're speaking in a rough way, basically. Have you heard this? Give me a rough idea. Give me a rough estimate, a rough idea. A rough estimate or idea. Rough, R-O-U-G-H. So give me a rough estimate. Give me a rough estimate. Give me a rough idea. What's a rough estimate, a rough idea? Rough estimate or a rough idea? Can you give me a rough estimate? I would say, like, how much should you pay for this course in that college? How much are you paying for your course at, for example, Seneca College? You say, oh, look, I don't remember exactly. So give me a rough idea. Give me a rough idea. Give me a rough estimate. A rough estimate. You know estimate?
Oh, yes.
Yeah? When you estimate is the verb. You estimate the price of something. And I want to say goodbye to this part. Once we estimate, to estimate the price of something. What do you do when you estimate the price?
You compare the prices?
No, you guess.
Oh, okay.
So we also have one word that is when you guess and estimate, when you put them together, they say guesstimate. And guesstimation. So can you estimate the price of... The word estimate is a very, very important word. I keep saying it. It's a basic word. It's an important word. So do you have a rough estimate? How much can you estimate the price of this house? Can you estimate the price of this car? Sometimes in my estimation, so have you heard this? I'm sure you've heard this. Don't underestimate your enemy. Don't underestimate your enemy. I overestimated her at the beginning of the class. For example, a teacher overestimating a student, thinking the student is better than the student disappoints the teacher. So that's overestimating. If you overestimate someone, it means we have overestimate, underestimate, and estimate. If you estimate, you have an estimation. If you overestimate, you think that person is better than actually
really
is. If you underestimate someone, you think that person is lower than actually is.
Yeah.
So if you overestimate or underestimate, never underestimate your enemy. Never think your enemy is smaller than what you think, because then you'll be surprised, you'll be shocked. If you overestimate someone, you would think
You will lose.
you'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Sometimes, if it's your opponent, you know, enemy, we have enemy. Don't underestimate your opponent. You know opponent?
Yes.
For example, if there's a match or there's a game, if we're playing, for example, tennis, you'll be my opponent. And the worst thing I can do is to underestimate you. Overestimating is good in a game because you try your best. But underestimating is really terrible because you think that person is, well, not good, and then she will give you hell. So overestimate and underestimate. Estimation. Fine, we're fine. So I think the rest are quite easy. Essentially, it's used a lot. Colleges are essentially made for as a shortcut to or toward a career. So colleges are shortcuts to careers. Shortcut. So, and we have shortcut, right? Shortcut. Not one word, 2 words. Shortcuts. Colleges are shortcuts to, are essentially shortcuts to careers. Okay? So, we talked about generalizing and also when we want to talk about something exceptional.